Hi, welcome to another edition of North Shore Journal. I'm your host, Walt Kosmowski. And my guest today is someone who has been on the show probably a half a dozen times over the years. Leighton O'Connor. Leighton, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Walt.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you again.
I feel like I've been on the show a couple decades.
Yeah,
We're getting old.
You have. Yeah.
My hair just keeps on getting grayer and grayer.
Keep that to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the last time that I interviewed you was around March of 23. So
Right.
that was a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And at that time, you had just finished doing like a 300-day mission trip across North America to help the homeless and so forth. I think you went through 50-plus cities and so forth. And I have a slide to show the viewers how busy you were. But there's a slide number one, control room, if you could. This was your itinerary through the United States, all the way up into Canada and Alaska. So very, very busy mission, a very, very busy mission.
Yeah, I left Linfield in June of 2022, 300-day trip. And we did outreach to the homeless in 54 cities. Went to Alaska again, Fairbanks and Anchorage. Did a little side trip to the Arctic Ocean. As you can see it all the way up north there. Mm-hmm. And we gave out blankets, hygiene kits, Bibles, clothing, food. And it was a great trip.
Yeah. And as I understand, being a glutton for punishment, or I guess I should say as conscientious as you are, put it positively, you were about to leave on a trip to Africa.
Correct. At
that time to check some wells that Good Hope had funded. Now, tell us about Good Hope. Tell us about the organization. What is that?
Good Hope is the nonprofit of Calvary Christian Church in Linfield.
Okay.
And Good Hope was founded, gotta be 12, 13, 14 years ago.
Okay.
And their first thing, they had a clothing thrift store, or not really store, clothing, giving out clothing in the bottom of the church, which turned into a food pantry. I'm on the board of directors, the secretary, and also I've been involved in their wells and their feeding program. But now they do a food pantry twice a month and literally give out a ton of food 2 Thursdays each month.
Mm-hmm. Now, the money that they get to sponsor these wells, is that all from donations, or do they get grants, or how does that work?
So we started doing a 5K back in 2014, I think. Mm-hmm. And we've done 9 5Ks, and that's the general fundraiser for those wells.
So people pay an entrance fee.
And we have sponsors.
Oh, you have sponsors.
So we
as well.
took a couple of years break during COVID because of that whole mess.
Yeah.
But we started back up a couple of years ago.
Uh-huh. And now you were in Kenya and Tanzania, which are on the east coast
Right.
of Africa. So how long did this particular mission last?
So after I got back from my 300-day trip, I did a month-long trip. About a month later, I left for Africa. I rented a Land Cruiser with a tent on top.
Oh, we'll get to that. I have some pictures.
Yeah. So the purpose of the trip, a couple purposes, was to visit the wells we had already dug, Good Hope had dug, funded.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to hold you right there.
Sure.
I have some pictures of the wells. So let's see pictures 2, 3, 4, and 5 kind of slowly. There's a couple of, looks like schoolgirls in their uniforms, and they are getting water out from a well, where did they get the fresh water before the well was dug?
They didn't, really. This was one of our first wells that we dug from the 5K.
Yeah.
This is Moy's Bridge. This is my second time visiting the well.
Uh-huh.
And if you saw this area before the well, which I think we did in 2015, it was all dry. Mm-hmm. But now there's crops, there's livestock, there's 2 schools built around the well. And I remember when I went there in 2015 and talked to the kids, I said, how does this well change your life? They said, less of my friends are dying because now they have clean water.
Yeah. And here is a couple of gentlemen. So they were able to have faucets that turn on and off.
That's in Maasai, which is the southern part of Kenya.
Okay. And that's
the same well.
Same well.
Yeah.
And and then you also, during this mission, you visited the wells that were sponsored by Good Hope, but you visited some clinics, and you were involved in a feeding. Tell us about the other things that you were doing.
Good Hope sponsors an orphanage in Nairobi. Mm-hmm. So I got to go there, visit with the children, and help out with the feeding program that's there.
Okay.
And also Good Hope built a clinic in Massamira, so I got to see the clinic
Okay.
and
Let's-
just seeing the changes in the.
Now, what are we looking at here?
That's in Massamira, and I brought some Bibles for the kids and hung out with the kids
Okay.
for the afternoon. And it was great because they have a well now there right near the school, and also the clinic's near the school.
Yeah. Very good. And let's take a look at the next picture, because you also tell us about this.
So I was in a state park or a national park in Tanzania, and my Jeep had the wheel had fallen off my Land Cruiser in the jungle. So I was in this park for 3 days waiting for parts to come in to replace my rotor on my
It's not
Land
like
Cruiser.
going to Napa Auto Parts, right?
No. It was a 2.5-hour drive for the mechanics to go to some place to pick up the parts for the Land Cruiser. So, of course, I went to service on Sunday. They didn't know I was coming. And the pastor welcomed me there, and I actually got to speak for a little while at the church through a translator.
And was their English fluent? Are you able to?
It was pretty good.
No problem?
Pretty
Yeah.
good.
And what
Yeah.
did they speak there? Swahili?
Yes, Swahili.
Swahili, yeah.
Yeah.
Your Swahili isn't too
No,
good.
not very good at all.
Well, now that you brought up the Jeep thing, now I know you normally, when you did your mission work up and down North America, you have your own
Right.
Jeep, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Christian Jeep Association. But in this case, you rented a Land Cruiser. Let's look at the next picture here. So this is the kids inspecting your your Land Cruiser. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, was it easy to source something like that, or
No.
No? Did you have to set it up
Well,
long in advance?
tried to source a Jeep, but the problem with the Jeep is that there's no Jeeps over there, very few. And if it broke down, I'd be stuck. Wouldn't be able to get parts. And the clutch went on this thing twice. I had problems with the doors. I had problems with the electrical system. I had to replace batteries. But it was just easy because everybody knows how to fix a Land Cruiser in Africa.
That's the default
Yeah.
method of transportation.
And I would get funny looks, but it was very unusual for a Caucasian person to be driving himself around Africa, particularly in Kenya and Tanzania.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at a series of pictures here. So let's see the next picture. You can tell us. So this is at a gas station with a
Yes.
crowd of people seeing, what is that white Caucasian person doing?
This particular gas station, I had locked my keys in the Land Cruiser.
Oh, boy.
And these folks helped me to get into the Land Cruiser. One of them happened to have a master key for a Toyota. Don't ask me how I got one of those. And then they helped me get into the Land Cruiser. About 2 hours after that, I got stuck in the mud on a road that Google shouldn't have taken me down. And I ended up having, I asked, walked out from my Land Cruiser, walked down the street, asked for a tow truck. They said, tow truck? No.
Yeah, what,
So 12 young gentlemen came out and pushed the Land Cruiser out of the mud.
there you go. And let's take a look at the next photo. Now, this is your itinerary. It's kind of hard to tell, but this goes through Kenya and Tanzania. But I'm
Right.
going to have a little bit better picture. No, maybe let's take a look at the next shot. Okay, this is you can see where Kenya and Tanzania are located on the east coast of Africa, the red section there. And so where did you fly into?
I flew into Nairobi,
Okay.
spent some time with friends there that I've known, and then I went to Moy's Bridge, which is north of there to the west, to visit a well. And then I went from there to Kapasta, which was south from there, and then I went to Massamira, which is on pretty much the border of Tanzania and Kenya, and took some amazing back roads, dirt roads, to get there. Saw a lot of wildlife, and then from Massamira I went back to Nairobi, and then I went to Mombasa, which is on the coast of Kenya. Then I went from Mombasa to Tanzania. Then I went to a place where we have a well, kind of the mid part of Tanzania, in the middle of nowhere. Checked on that well, then went back to the coast of Tanzania to Dar es Salaam, and then took a plane to visit some missionaries on Zanzibar that I know that are actually from this area.
So you did go to Zanzibar.
I went to Zanzibar
Yeah.
and spent a couple of days there with my friends, and then flew out of Dar es Salaam.
Yeah, and Zanzibar is actually an island, right?
Yes.
Zanzibar, it's a country which is a small island.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
comparatively speaking.
Yeah, beautiful island.
Yeah, and let's take a look at the next shot here. And you were saying that you went through some beautiful country.
Yes.
And I know that my wife and I went to Botswana in South Africa a few years ago on a safari trip, and we went in these kinds of vehicles. So I can attest to how beautiful the countryside
Very
there,
beautiful.
and you run into all kind of wildlife that you only see in zoos over here, right?
Right. And well, I was going through the national park in Tanzania, and the wheel fell off of the rear part. One of the wheels in the back fell off. Went zooming by me, went in front of me, went into the jungle, and I had to walk 5 miles to the national park headquarters to get some help, and then get the Land Cruiser towed there, and they took a weekend to replace my rotors.
Yeah,
That was interesting.
Hey, let's
But I was shooing giraffe literally out of the road so I could walk by.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that. And here, this is you took this picture.
Oh yeah.
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 And I can tell you that I have very similar pictures from our trip. Literally, you're literally yards away.
They walked
from
right
these
by the Land Cruiser.
Behemoths. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how did you mentioned what's that application? The Google Maps.
I use Google Maps a little bit. I also use Gaia, but Google Maps was not accurate at all.
Yeah. Well, some of these roads are only operable half the year, right? Because
Yes, that's
other
right.
parts of the year they're underwater. And
Yeah.
whatever. Now, did you ever get lost completely? That you had no idea which way to turn?
Yes.
You did.
On my way to Masamira.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you bail yourself out of that?
Just kept on driving. Kept on driving.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
did you meet with any hostility ever?
Well, in both countries, Tanzania and Kenya, they have officers on the side of the road with radar guns. Mm-hmm. And they would pull you over and say you were going too fast. But if you gave them so many shillings, you wouldn't have to go to court. So I would say, bring me to court then. Let's do this right. And they would argue back and forth. I mean, this probably happened 6 times.
Wow.
And I said, do you have any children? And they said, yes. They would say 3 or 4 children. I said, how would you like some Bibles for your children? And I would reach in the back seat, give them Bibles, and they'd wave goodbye.
Wave goodbye. So initially they would not know that you were a man of God.
Well, I would tell them a pastor.
Or you would tell them that.
Yeah,
that you
and
were
they would ask me why I'm traveling.
So you had a whole bag of shillings next to you.
And I wouldn't give them the shillings, but I had brought over 3 bags of children's Bibles, over 300 Bibles.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah. So they were in the back of the Land Cruiser.
Yeah. So they weren't really. I wouldn't say they were aggressive and
Not at all.
threatening at all. But
No.
They were, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do we have another picture? Okay. Oh, okay. So we're gonna talk about. So when you came back from Africa,
Yeah.
you went on a 5-month trip.
Yeah. So
Tell us about this was your itinerary, a crazy itinerary.
Yeah.
So tell us about
for
this.
3 days after I got back from Africa, I'm not sure why I scheduled this way. I left on a 5-month trip to represent the Christian Jeep Association at 20 Jeep events in 20 states.
Okay, now tell us about the Christian Jeep Association. We
So-
talked about it last time, but
Yeah.
for the benefit of our viewers, tell us what that is.
I founded the Christian Jeep Association in 2018, and it's a fellowship of people who love Jeeps and Jesus.
Okay.
So we have 43 chapters
Seriously?
in the United States and 3 in other countries, and they're people who use their Jeeps to share the gospel.
Yeah.
And there's so many Jeep events that happen in the United States on a constant basis. Every weekend there's 2 or 3 Jeep events someplace in the country.
And how old is the organization?
2018, so...
18. So, but how did you get the word out? How did you get people to know about it and say, hey, I want to belong? And
Well, because I owned an ad agency in Beverly for 15 years.
Okay.
I knew a little bit about marketing and social
Okay,
media
there you
and
go.
all kinds of things. So.
yeah, Blue Swirls.
Blue
right?
Swirls,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I still have some websites that Blue Swirls have done.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So that's the Christian Jeep Association. So you did this as part of this trip was part of...
Right, so I would go to Jeep shows and, and have Bibles at my booth and flags for the Christian Jeep Association. And I went as far as Texas to a Jeep show. I
Yeah.
went to Florida a couple times, Alabama. This is a new item on the back of my
yeah,
Jeep.
so tell us about that.
So since I've been back, I've been doing outreach locally in the North Shore to help the homeless, bringing them clothing and that type of thing. But I had the idea of doing hot meals when we go someplace. So somebody donated a military trailer. So some friends and I at church outfitted the trailer to do hot meals.
What do you have, propane tanks? Is that what
No,
you
actually, we cooked the meal at church, And then we have insulated food carriers in the back of the trailer.
Ah.
And we slide the food into, chafing dishes, and it's insulated in the back. And then on the side of the trailer, these tables drop down, or these shelves drop down, and we put the food on the side with chafing dishes and to-go boxes and plastic utensils. And we'll show up someplace like in front of my brother's table, open up the trailer, and serve 50 meals.
Now, so let's see the next picture, Chris. So now this is the actual
Right.
okay. So it opens up, and these are some meals that you're. Tell us where you are here.
We're in front of my brother's table. I think this was the first time we used it. The trailer hadn't been painted yet, but I just think we did a simple meal of hot dogs and potato salad and chips and cookies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is in Beverly, or no?
My brother's table is in Lynn.
In Lynn.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is another
Right.
another shot of that. So you have the hot food and so forth over there. And how do you let people know that you're going to be there, or do you just go to a homeless
We just
shelter?
go.
You just go.
Just go and show
and
up.
there's always people there.
There's always
posted,
people.
of need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you collect donations from people that
Yes.
see you and say, "Gee, I like what you're doing, and here's some
Yes,
money"?
we collect monetary donations, but I have a storage unit in Lynn, and somehow every month that storage unit gets filled up with clothing and shoes. And so, when we do outreach once a month on the North Shore, and we load up the Jeeps or the cars with all this clothing, we have boxes for them and load them all up, and when we're doing the hot meal, we're giving out clothing as well.
Yeah. So let's see. Is there another? Let's see the next shot, Chris, if we could. Oh,
Oh,
jumping
how'd
the
that
gun.
get in there?
Wait a minute. Okay, hold that there. So you returned from this particular sojourn in September of 2023, and you had a tale of woe to tell. Tell us
So,
what your circumstances were.
I was a full-time pastor at Calvary Christian Church, and God called me on the road to go back to missionary work.
Right.
So I was on the road for a year and a half.
Right.
Came back, the Jeep was dying, the engine was dying. I had no place to live, so I was living with friends from the church. I didn't really have a job because I was doing volunteer work, and I was single. So God had a plan, Jeremiah 29:11, had a plan for me, and ended up somebody gave donations so I could replace the engine in the Jeep. And then I found a job with Elliot as a vocational coordinator at a day program for people dealing with mental illness.
Okay.
And also met a woman, a lovely woman at church. Her name's Stephanie. We got married last July, and we live in Nahant.
Let's take a look at the neck. There you go.
There we go.
Steph and Leighton, July.
Yeah, and she's been right beside me since I've got home helping with the homeless.
Boy, look at this smile on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the now. Are you still working this job in Lynn?
Yeah.
Now, what is it? Describe that for us.
So it's called it's an Elliot place, and it's the Harbor Place Clubhouse in Lynn. And it's a day program for people dealing with mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar, depression,
And
mood disorder.
what do you do, Leighton?
My job is to find them jobs.
To find them jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
To get them back in the workforce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And are most companies willing to accommodate people?
It's a little challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Considering the job market right now, it's challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Particularly if somebody has a disability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and you met Stephanie. How did you meet her?
I met her at Celebrate Recovery at Calvary Christian Church, which I've been involved with forever, for
Yeah.
probably 8 or 9 years.
And this is the first time you noticed her, or
Yeah.
she was around before and you didn't know?
No, she wasn't around before.
Oh, so she
was
just
new to- yeah.
showed up when, was it love at first sight?
Well, it was quick.
Pretty quick. Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just teasing you. So she helps you in all of this missionary
helps.
work. So she's out with the Jeep, with the trailer.
Yeah.
And have you been out on a mission trip since you came back from the?
No, it's all been local.
It's all been.
But we're going to try to get on a mission trip probably next year. Probably go to Kenya.
Back to Kenya.
probably in Masamira to
Yeah.
check on the wells.
Now,
there.
I wanted to ask, I didn't get a chance to ask, when you went over to Kenya and Tanzania on that trip, now, who subsidized that? Where did you get the money? Did it come out of your own pocket, or who paid for that?
Some of it came out of my own pocket, but my pockets weren't that deep. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of good friends that donate to the cause.
Yeah. And so the rental of was the rental of the Land Rover very expensive, or?
It was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Not crazy money, but
Yeah.
I think it was about $1,000 a week.
$1,000 a week.
Yeah,
And you were there for,
a month.
that's a pretty hefty figure.
Yeah, considering how much it broke down too.
that-
But I got that reimbursed.
1,000 shillings or dollars?
Dollars.
Dollars.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, yeah.
yeah.
And now, Good Hope is from the Calvary Church, right?
It's good. It's Calvary's nonprofit.
Calvary
Yeah.
so it's a nonprofit.
It's a separate entity.
Entity,
And it's its
okay.
own 501c3.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right. That
And we should probably talk about the 5K that's coming up.
Well, that's
You got that there.
next on my
You're right on the ball,
next on my
Walt.
list.
You always have been.
Well, you sent me the stuff. Stop it. So this is a major fundraiser for the organization, right? So tell us about the 5K that's been going on since.
That's
about
last year's 5K,
Okay.
which happened at Covenant Christian Academy in Peabody. I was there for that. This year, it's our 9th 5K, and we're going to have it in Hunt, and it's on June 7th. And most of the activities are going to be at the life-saving station there. So we're going to have live music. We're going to have a kids dash. We're going to have a silent auction. We're going to have free lunch. All kinds of things. We've got face painting, popcorn, cotton candy. And years ago, I was a race director, so I assumed this responsibility again since I'm local now. And it's going to be a great, great race.
And where in the Hunt is it going to be?
Right across the street from the life-saving station. We'll start right on the Hunt Road.
Okay, and so our viewers will know where that is. Just ask anybody when you drive into town. They'll know.
Yeah, you'll see the signage.
So there's obviously a registration fee.
Right.
And then you have, sponsors as well?
We have sponsors. We have about 10 sponsors.
Okay,
Hoping for more. Always looking for more sponsors.
okay.
Looking for silent auction donations, gift certificates to restaurants or stuff like that. And you can sign up online. Go to goodhopeinc.org. Go to the 5K page, which you can link to from the homepage.
Okay, and we'll show the,
yeah.
we got it right here.
There we go.
Okay, goodhopeinc.org. And this will get you to the where you can donate, and
Right.
Can you sign up for the race?
Yep, you can sign up for the race. There's a Good Hope page. Just click on the 5K registration page. That'll bring you to the page on the website, tell you all about the race itself. If you want to explore the website a little bit, you can see where you click on Wells, our food pantry, and all the other stuff we do.
Yeah, and now you're planning to do some more wells in Africa. Tell us about that.
So
Leighton.
we'll work at this 5K will hopefully fund a well in northern Uganda.
Okay.
And we have some couple other wells planned as well.
Okay. So you're going to be like north of Lake Victoria, somewhere in that area,
Yes.
I think, if
Yeah.
my geography serves me right.
Right.
Yeah. So and then how many wells are you planning to build?
Probably one well in Uganda. I think it's $10,000 plus, $10,000 plus.
$10,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do this, you contract with like local laborers and local,
Right.
and now they have obviously the hardware and all that stuff is available there. You don't have to ship stuff over.
No. Usually we connect with an Assembly of God minister who's familiar with companies that dig the well. Then they find a location. Well, not a minister, a missionary. They'll find a location that's good for a well that will serve the most people, and then they'll find a contractor that they know of that can do the well, and they come in and do the well.
Yeah. And is this like a public property or state-owned property, or is this private property that you dig the well on?
It's usually on a church or at a school.
Okay.
Yeah,
So nobody can come in and say, I don't want this well here.
that's right.
Let's take another look at those. We have two websites. Let's take a look at those, if we can, Chris. Okay, so now this is another one. This is called missionforhope.us, and
Right.
this one is different. Now, what does this get?
So Mission for Hope is a nonprofit that I created around 2018, and that's what got me on my 2 trips across the country
Okay.
and other trips to help the homeless. And we're doing local outreach now. So, funds go towards the trailer, towards clothing that we buy that's not donated. We buy blankets, we buy hygiene kits, sleeping bags, all kinds of stuff, food for
Yeah.
for the hot meals.
Now, you were mentioning this storage locker that you say sometimes gets filled with. Now, is this like open, the storage locker, and people can just
No,
come in?
just people say, I've got 3 bags of clothing at my house. Can
Oh.
you come pick them up? And I pick them up. A church in Nahant, the village church in Nahant, did a clothing drive for us. So that was, I think, three carloads worth of stuff.
Wow.
And
Wow.
we'll be giving that out probably in 2 weeks in the next outreach.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So somehow God always provides, and that storage unit is full right now with clothing.
Wow. It's been a very busy couple of years for you,
Yeah, it
hasn't it?
Very fun and joyful time.
Yeah.
Really have enjoyed my
And
time.
you're living now in Nahant with your new bride, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. With views of the ocean.
Yeah, we can walk to 3 beaches in 3 minutes. Our dog
Well,
loves the
see,
beach.
God has rewarded
God
you.
is good. He really has. I have no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, Leighton, as usual, I have to say it's a pleasure having you. I think this is the 5th or 6th time you've been a guest of mine, and I'm a big fan of yours. I
Thank you so
really
much.
am, because you are a man that walks the talk, and you're true to your calling and true to your word, and I respect you mightily.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate your support through the years.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Always. I'm always available here for you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to tell our viewers that you've been, that you've been watching North Shore Journal. I'm your host, Walt Kosmowski, and we'll see you next time.